We have a society that has been absolutely trained in socialism. And what I want to do is use the systems that are in place, change them, obviously, to get people hooked on capitalism. And so what I'd like to see us do is okay, you're going to get that welfare, unemployment check, or whatever. You are going to be placed not in a government job, but in the private sector through, through placement agencies. Everybody is put back in business. Everybody is put back out there, and the reason is this: to keep you in the game. Because as you are at home, you develop fear. You develop fear of all that one. You develop fear that you will never have all that wonderful stuff that Peter just said he has, that he just experienced a wonderful freedom. Because I want these people to have that too. But we got to break them through the fear. They need to get back out into the real world, where they are needed, where people actually need them to show up on Monday. And it's important to people that you're there, because you know what the worst thing is? When you lose a job and you hear from people that you thought you were so needed, and you hear from people who are still there, everything just went on without you. And it's devastating. It's devastating. And so, and then what we do is the Democrats put in a system that keep you with an eternal safety net under you, in that fear, and you grow to be terrified of the failure. What we need to do is get people back out there. I'd like to say, yeah, you'll get the safety net's still there. We can't just transition them from one to the other instantly. It's ridiculous. It's like having the Middle East suddenly become democratic. But instead, first have them spend that 20 hours a week or whatever in the workplace, leaving them enough time to job hunt too, and have that business pay in, say, 30% of their fees, of their welfare or unemployment. The taxpayers save millions of dollars. These people are back in business. They're getting a taste of capitalism, and the fear gets to go away. We get to show them how great it is to recapture that. It's a win-win. It's good for business. They get cheaper labor. It's good for the taxpayer. They save millions. It's good for the people. They get back out there. What do you think?
I think that that would be an outstanding idea. I think that it's a good stepping stone, and I agree with you. You can't just shove them out the door. You have to do a transition. You can't. I mean, I realize that there's a lot of kids that learned how to swim just because Dad threw them in the pool, and to be fair, that works for some people, but for others, that's not the case. And quite honestly, for a lot of people, the fear of water is such that they can't just jump in the pool and learn how to swim. They need to have that support system there, and so when you have that transition period, it allows them to transition out and say, you know what, suddenly I have hope again. Suddenly I have this feeling that there's opportunity out there. And man, it's a good feeling. And you want to give that to people. And so I look back at 2008 and the Democratic Party and the platform that they ran on. They didn't deliver much of anything that they actually promised. What they were promising is what people really wanted in the first place, which is what we've been talking about all along, which was, and I know that there's the hope and change thing. They delivered the change, which is just spare change in your pocket if you're lucky. But what they really delivered was change in terms of changing the system. The hope that people were wanting was, hey, we're going to get rid of partisan politics. Hey, what we're going to get rid of is we're going to get rid of these crony capitalists. Well, you know what? Democrats aren't going to get rid of them because they need them, desperately need them. What we're going to get rid of is we're going to get rid of this hidden government. Well, we didn't get less of it. We got more of it. So everything that they were saying that they wanted, which is what the people were saying, well, no, this guy promised that he would transcend that. Well, he didn't transcend it. He just delivered it in a harsher form. He says, not only going to give it to you, I'm going to give it to you good and hard. And that's why you have both the election of 2010 and the election of 2014 is a huge repudiation of Barack Obama and the Democratic policies, because they didn't deliver on the things that they were promising, which is what people really wanted in the first place. A better economy, more opportunity, the ability to actually chase the dreams that you have. And guess what? You know what? We can build in some safety nets if we have to, but we're gonna set it up so that you can actually have a safety net. But really, it's just a transition period so that you can stay on your feet and continue to chase your dreams. I mean, how awesome is that? I mean, I'm not one for big government because I'm totally opposed to it, but at the same time, I'm not opposed to the fact that maybe we need to have a transition period where we transition out of big government into smaller government and into minimalist government. You can't just do it overnight. And because if you do that, there's going to be chaos. And so you have that transition period. Go ahead.
And isn't it kind of a delicious concept to use the power of big government as it's structured now to dismantle itself? What other mechanism can we use that can so thoroughly do that if we can restructure programs in order to eventually make them obsolete? You know what? I just had this realization. If we were to take this sort of legislation and actually attempt through the House and the Senate as newly constructed starting next year and attempted to pass these reforms with these kind of stories, can you imagine what liars the Democrats would have to prove themselves to be by trying to block it? Taste that. Just breathe it in and taste that. Forcing the Democrats at every turn, taking what they claim the ownership of, these ideas about caring for the poor and trying to get people back to work and caring about jobs and whatever, and making them put lie after lie labeled to every one of their platform planks because the Republicans are actually getting it done.
It's a lot easier to put a lie to everything they say if we bring an alternative. Right now, guys, we can't counter any of the lies that are buying these millions of votes because we're not bringing anything, right? I mean, that's crazy. Why would we, the people who are in love with capitalism, who get a job and are so excited about that, now want to bring it to them or find a way to do it? We took a Senate seat, and let me tell you, in 2 years we're going to take another.
And we got it from Mark Uterus. Take that, jerk.